You can learn more about Heroes of the Mist at mistheroes.com. You can learn more.
Hello and welcome back to RPG Research and Heroes of the Mist. I am your host and game master, Hawk Robinson, and this is the second half of episode 40, April 7th, 2019, and the group is just about to begin getting involved in the middle of a feud, a battle, but the political negotiations of three disparate groups. So that they can hopefully continue on their main quest. This is a little bit of a sidetrack for them, but it is preventing them from being able to move forward easily. To reassess for those who haven't followed the story, if the group doesn't manage to work this out with the Wood Elves, the Centaurs, and the Northronders, they're not an immediate threat. What's that?
Everybody's dead.
No, you guys are not.
Dead.
Yeah. That's only if you offend them or challenge them or something, then you're dead.
And the only thing it takes to offend them is use words.
True.
Words are offensive to them.
Yes. But the options are try to go north, and around and back down from the ocean to try to get where you want to go for the Oracle. Where you wanted to go was right. Here you are at the crossroads. You wanted to go right and then up and over the pass through Iridia and over where you need to go. So this is the crossroads you're at. So you'd have to go through the warring area all the way up north, up into where the Jotun are, which are the 100 to 200 foot tall giants that eat people, to try to get all the way up to Northport, get to Northport, which is the ocean, and then try to catch either by land, go around Jotun and come back down in and around, or by ocean and try to come back in through Iridia, which is controlled by Mordred, or talk to the high. Anyway, it's really problematic to get up there. So, for example, this is Queen's Road going down to here, to Camelot. Just to kind of put this in perspective, you're in northeast Regnum Sapientium area. The Wood Elves will not. What's that?
We can go under the mountain.
We
have a dwarf.
Speak friend in the enter.
Yeah.
Because that always works.
Just do it Dig Dug style. So anyway, the problem is the road east is blocked by the Wood Elves. The Wood Elves control the eastern pass and are loath to let just anybody through. They've been known to let people through. They have treaties, etc. But at this point, they're telling you no. The only way around that is to go into the Infernium, to go south of their barriers and into the Infernium, which you guys have only seen the edges of, but you know to be horrifically bad. So your choices are limited when you know you need to get somewhere up in this area over the Dragon Spine. And so you guys have gotten pulled into this just because you just want to get through.
Ideally, we can use the path, or you mean the pass, that neither goes through the Infernium nor Jotun.
Right. If you can make the Wood Elves let you through, then you cut through that way and you leave the Infernium area and you go through. You'll still have to deal with all the challenges of the Dragon Spine, but you'll at least be completely away from the Infernium and away from the Wood Elves and away from all the battle and all of it.
Limited, giant, horrible monsters.
As far as the Dragon Spine?
Yes.
Right, as opposed to unlimited.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. Because of the tears in the fabric of reality in the Infernium, it's unlimited. Unlimited horrors.
Infinite horrors or...
Limited horrors.
Limited horrors. I go with limited horrors.
Exactly. So, I want to do a quick sound check for everybody here, if we could, just because we're trying to see what's going on with things. So, of course, I'm talking right now. Now, John, if you want to go ahead and speak normally, but actually into the microphone, as you should.
Why would I want to do that?
Without swallowing it, though, because you usually don't speak that closely.
But why?
So, yeah. All right. And Adam?
I'm talking in a normal voice, which is how...
Yep.
Okay.
And Lillian?
I will try to speak louder so people can hear me.
Okay. And Andy?
Talking. I am talking now. This is me talking. This is the sound of me talking because I am talking. Because I'm talk.
Okay. See, How do they sound to you, Dan? They sound fine to me, and they're not as high quality because these mics have 2 to 3 times the condenser, and those right. These are high end mics.
Mm-hmm.
Those are not going to have the bass response.
What are the folks
They're
out?
going to sound a little hollow, but their volume is good.
What do
Even
the folks
Lillian's
out
is
in
fine.
TV at land say?
Well, that's where we're getting conflicting.
Yeah.
As long as everybody stays in the same proximity to the mic, it'll be fine.
Yeah. So just stay fairly close to the mic, and you should be okay. As far as I can tell, the volume's fine.
I would just rest my nose on the mic.
Use those style of mics on stage. I always have the veil touching my mouth.
Yeah, these don't need to be quite that close, but as close as you can. Without it making it uncomfortable to speak.
I want to.
All right. So, you guys broke out of the woods. You're going through between where the logs were cleared. You see the corpses and pieces of corpses all over. Flies are buzzing on some of them here and there. The sun is out. It is a bright, beautiful day, except for the carnage and horror. But the sun is out. It's a clear blue, November, wintry-ish blue sky, but clear as far as you can see. The sun's quite bright after being in the woods and such, and under the overcast for so long. You see, a few hundred feet that way, off the side of the road, your little trio of weapons stacked together. A raven sitting on top of them with one milky eye, and about 2 dozen other crows pecking the ground around nearby, digging up things and flinging things around, and every now and then a couple fly away with something in its beak or its claw, and then others come flying back in, picking away and grabbing things. But that one with the milky eye is just sitting on top of those 3 items. And as you guys come riding out, it and the other crows all look in your general direction, not you specifically, but your activity attracts their attention as you come riding out. You recognize some of the chopped centaur and other parts in the pile of bodies piled here and there from the zombie battle. You recognize some of them as some of the ones you chopped. Like, you recognize it. And there is an atrocious smell of death and decay, rotting, mud and blood and gore, baking in the sun.
Kind of like a tanning shop, right?
Yeah, not quite there yet, but if it was warmer, it would. It is in the 40s as you come out into this. It's up in the 40s. So the sun is making it very pungent.
I'm sure that'll get everybody in a good, friendly mood.
Yeah. Now, you do still see bodies scattered throughout the field, but it is much less densely populated back by the crossroads than when you first came to the crossroads.
So did it look like all the bodies that were a piece enough to get up got up, or just like some?
Hard to say. You would need a little closer investigation. But whereas they were pretty evenly scattered, there were more wood elves on this side and more centaurs, but the bodies were more evenly scattered when you guys first arrived at the crossroads, the other day. Now there's definitely a concentration of them in this area, and a much thinner amount of them to the north and west and south, right? Noticeably different than before when it was more evenly distributed.
Am I within 60 feet of the TP of weapons?
Not yet. You're about 150 feet away, but you will be soon.
Okay.
You'll pass within 20 feet of it if you're directly on the road.
I am unwinding the sling from the didgeridoo
Okay.
as we're approaching.
Okay. Alrighty then.
If you get us TPK'd by some crows, I'm going to drive to Spokane and I'm going to slap you.
No threatening flayers with physical harm, Joe. Come on, that's against the code of conduct.
With a lawsuit.
I'm sorry, slap him with a lawsuit.
No legal. Don't threaten our players, please.
Okay.
What about psychological torture?
No threatening our players, please.
An improperly filed lawsuit.
No threatening our players, please.
If you kill the crow before I do, I won't have to.
We're going to a negotiation for a war treaty and there are corpses everywhere. I don't think killing birds is going to be really helpful for us. But I'm sorry, I should not have this meta conversation.
All right. Let's see.
See? Magic crows, what I tell you.
I never met a conversation I didn't like.
Somebody's already paying to have us destroyed.
I believe we
I
still
can't
have
because of
something.
business reasons.
Okay.
So I just can't.
I believe we
Sorry.
still had something lingering from the last session that
You do, and that's coming
had
up
not
soon.
worked
So
in yet.
anyway, so you guys are riding west on the road. The wood elves, as soon as they come out of between the law, because it's pretty narrow, some of them stay back in the woods, and the others kind of fan out on the field, but stay back by the pile of trees. But you see the wood elf general and his aide at the front of your group, riding ahead of you, leading you guys as you head into the crossroads. So again, for those who may not have joined us at the beginning, huge battlefield area, hundreds of feet across and many hundreds of feet going up to the north, cratered, as though many explosions had happened. The craters are, anywhere from 5 feet to 20 feet across in size. Not super deep craters, they're shallow craters, but very, very everywhere between this ruined area. Thick woods at the edge, with a lot of blown and blasted trees piled against the standing wood, as though they were, the explosions flung them against and then they fell down, as you guys had to deal with before. And then hundreds and hundreds of bodies scattered all over of centaurs and hibsels and Northronders and wood elves, just all over. But with the larger concentration here, where you guys are, coming in, piles. There's mounds of centaur and hibsel bodies here, and mounds of Northrond bodies over here.
Hipsel, deer centaur?
Yeah, they're basically half deer, half centaur. They're basically centaur deer. Yes, basically they're much smaller.
Centaur.
If you're half deer, half centaur, does that mean
That's something else. Yeah.
Human half, a horse half?
Yeah, I misspoke. They are a deer type of centaur, basically. Yeah, instead of horse, it's deer.
All centaurs are deer to me.
Oh.
So it'd be a cent deer or a deer
Anyway.
Deer tar?
So you guys are heading, and so at the crossroads, the road goes north and south or east. You're heading west on that eastern road. Right at the crossroads has been set up a large open pavilion where everybody from the north and the east, so it's angled at an angle where the whole front is very open, and in it is 3 tables, in the shape of a U, facing kind of northeast, so that the camped centaur party, the camped Northrond party, who are a few hundred feet, hundreds of feet, well without a bow shot, are camped, can see into the pavilion. But it is covered in case the weather and such kicks in, but it is very tall. It's 15 feet tall, big open face, and these 3 large tables with many chairs arranged. And so as the wood elves start to lead ahead, you now see coming out of each camp a centaur and a hibsel coming from the centaur camp, and you see 2 Northronders on foot. The Northronders are not riding horses, they're riding on foot with their great long strides, and are now heading towards that central area at the crossroads. All right, everybody got that pretty clearly?
Quick question. On
Yes.
the hibsels,
Yes.
did they have antlers?
Let me give you the reference picture.
If they're deer, then they're
Not that it matters, but
yeah, let me.
Centaurs don't-
It's a legitimate question, and I'm a little rusty on
speaking of legitimate and illegitimate questions,
76 Monster Manual.
wouldn't a mermaid be a fish tar?
If we were following your
That was a
logic,
terrible desert
Yes.
movie.
According to
no,
the
that's not.
logic,
That's
yes.
not the right page.
Ouch.
I got the wrong
I don't
page
think it'd be a
number.
pike tar. It'd be like an ick tar. Centaur.
Kind of harder to say.
I wonder if there was a race of centaur that had like the horse top and human bottom. They just were not as.
There it is. Yeah, they do have some reindeer. They do have some short
called
antlers and
torsen.
stuff. They look like that.
Okay.
Go ahead and pass that around and then hold it up to the camera as well.
The most famous reverse centaur is Torsen Wells.
And in the chat room, the same humor is going on. Hold it up to the central camera. Or Dan, if you want to hand over to Dan, and Dan, can you hold it? Well, I don't know. Yeah, if you can just get it up to that central camera, somebody. Or Dan can look it up on the web and.
Well, that
Yeah,
works on my camera.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
Good enough.
So that's what a Hibsel looks like. Everybody else pretty much knows what a Centaur looks like.
They were cool before the rest of us were.
All right. So now the wood elves have taken your pack animals and are keeping them back with their camp there towards the entrance. And at about 200 feet from the pavilion, you see the general raise up his hand to stop, and the aide stops, and you see him dismount, and the aide dismount. What do you guys do?
I watch Carr and see what Carr does.
Karn looks at Dranera. Dranera gives him a nod. He starts to dismount.
I dismount too.
Okay.
Dismount.
Okay. And you see him start to reach for his sword, and you hear her cluck her tongue, and he, puts the sword back on the saddle, shakes his head, and gives a big sigh.
Oh, did we see Karn's sword that he lost in the zombie fight?
No.
Okay.
Could be anywhere. There's weapons everywhere.
Okay.
You are at about this point only about 30 feet away from that tripod that you built with the crows.
I use Elvish Sign Language to present my distaste for them.
To the crows?
Yep.
Okay.
I would be careful.
You see the milky-eyed crow tilt its head at you.
Someone could easily
Careful,
misinterpret.
careful. Careful. We're international here. Family friendly. Come on. All right.
You got to make up something.
Yeah, make up some. Yeah, Lillian?
I don't even know what's going on.
That means we're doing it.
Are
right.
you dismounting?
Oh, yes, I did say I was dismounting. Sorry.
Okay.
I also remove my daggers from my belt
Okay.
and leave them with my pony.
Okay. Moisha?
Moisha quietly dismounts and stands at forlorn attention.
Okay. And Farhad?
Farhad also dismounts. Farhad never strapped on his weapons. He's strapped on the horse.
Okay.
So,
And you see the general unstrapping his weapons and his bow and putting them on the horse and putting the rein down and uttering a command to the horse, and the horse nods its head twice and then just stays put. Same thing with the aide. The aide removes his weapons and puts them on the horse. Again, 200 feet away. You see the same thing being repeated with the, in different variation, obviously, with the Centaur and the Hibsel dropping their weapons at about the 200-foot mark. Same thing with the Northronders. They set down their weapons, although you can see very reluctantly from the larger of the two. What do you do with your weapons?
I've already unwrapped the sling.
Mm-hmm.
I take the sling and wrap that around the two hand axes and put those on my horse.
Okay. Taking any weapons with you?
Well, my staff.
Okay. You use your staff as a walking stick?
Well, it's also a musical instrument.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing my musical
Okay.
instruments.
But you're bringing your staff?
Yes.
Okay. Are you walking with it, or are you carrying it like ready to fight?
I'm walking with it.
Okay.
I follow Karn's cue, and everyone else puts like the sword and the shield, and the.
Yeah. Karn is not in armor.
Okay.
He is in travel clothes.
Oh.
Looks so disappointed.
Oh. Well.
With a lot of bandages showing.
Okay. Yeah, still my leather armor on, but it seems kind of dumb to try taking it off now. So
Yeah.
put all the weapons
Well,
on there.
the general didn't take his outer garb off and stuff. So,
All right.
and you did at one point catch a flash of a little silver under his shirt. So.
Okay. Then. So I leave my weapons. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I put all my daggers on my horse.
Okay. All right. And a couple other wood elves are still here to take care of your horses, and they're just going to keep them right here. Talk.
I move to Karn and whisper to him. Is it him? Either one. There's two of them.
I can't tell from here.
Okay, can you give me a sign when you can see them? If it's the good one or the bad one?
I'll put my fists like thus.
Oh, all right. For the good one or the bad one?
I will have a normal fist or no fists if it is not him.
Okay.
If it is him, it will be that way.
Okay.
Doc, you can listen to the grinding of his teeth as well.
He looks over at you and actually gives a curt nod in agreement.
All right.
Okay, and Moisha? Moisha?
Moisha, I will quietly follow my fellows.
Okay. Weapons? Any weapons on you, or do you leave everything with the horse?
No, I'll leave everything with the horse.
Okay.
I've got my leather armor on.
Okay.
I'm leaving everything with the horse.
All right, Farhad?
Trying to show good faith.
Okay, Farhad?
Yeah, I didn't have any weapons on, so I'm heading over towards the pavilion.
All right. Everybody, you see the general and his aide heading that way and looking back expectantly at the rest of you, so everybody begins walking that way?
Yes.
All right, everyone. Let's try not to cause genocide, okay?
Three-way genocide.
Yes.
What's that?
It's
that's
death.
what you.
Lots of death.
Oh, okay.
All the death.
That the stuff you put on crops, so the bugs don't even, right?
No.
Oh. It's what happens to the bugs.
Oh, I got you.
All right. So you all start approaching.
Everyone remember their parts.
Everybody's getting closer. Not surprisingly, the centaur and the hypsil arrive first. Their strides just eat up the ground. They're not running, but they just cover the ground fairly quickly. And before the Wood Elves too, the very large Northronders also arrive. As you get closer, you're guessing the taller of the two must be 7 feet or more tall. A big, burly dude. And the other guy, who seems small compared, is probably 6.5 feet tall or more.
Oh, that's all.
So, definitely a matter of scale. But the one centaur is almost as tall as the tall Northrond.
So what are we talking about build here? Like really
burly,
really tall football or like basketball?
Disproportionately muscular, like really, really muscular.
So football.
Well, I guess, but
like Prince Adam.
But a lot of football players are kind of very soft. Yeah. They're big muscle but flabby with a lot of the big ones. There is no flab.
Okay, so
these are hard lives. They live hard warrior
Arnold
lives.
Schwarzenegger, but taller.
Way taller. Way taller.
You ever see that that one picture that exists that's like the only picture in the world where you can refer to Arnold Schwarzenegger as the little guy? It's a picture of
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Andre.
He's not that tall. He's only like 6'2" or something.
Wilt Chamberlain.
Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Wilt Chamberlain and Andre the Giant, and they're holding him up above the air.
I have not seen that. Anyway, all right, bring it back in.
He's the little guy.
That's funny. So, but no, these people live hard, rigorous lives. There is no body fat to spare. So they are incredibly muscular due to genetics and such. and lean as can be, and heavily scarred. Lots and lots of scars on face and front, both the centaur, the Hibsol, both the Northronders, heavily scarred, and including fresh wounds on all of them. And some little scorch marks and pieces of hair. I mean, these are people have been in battle recently, of pretty, they're patched up. But no missing ears or eyes or anything like that, just heavily scarred and a little scorched.
So I assume the Wood Elf leaders have stepped up. Is it the general that we've met?
Yes.
And
yes, Ironcrest.
And am I to correct in assuming that the other one is the prince?
You don't know who the aide is.
Oh, he's an aide. Okay, I thought the general might be the aide.
We were getting the actual leader this time, and the general was supposed to be the second.
No, that was what you assumed.
Because he said their leader doesn't come out, and they promised they would this time.
That's what you had hoped.
That's what they said.
Yes, that's what they said. So you're hoping that is the prince.
How did he look?
Doesn't look very princely. He seems to be glaring at everybody.
Okay, that
except the general. No, not in any haughty way or anything. Like vile hatred of everybody except the general.
So, like a prince.
Okay, that could be your character.
Like a body double who's about to die.
So, the Wood Elves seat themselves at the middle of the. So we've got southern table, western table, northern table. Wood Elves seat themselves at the middle of the southern table. The centaurs don't seat themselves, but go into the pavilion and stand in front of the western table. And the Northronders come in. And by the way, there are openings in the back and side, so there's lots of ways in and out. No surprises, etc. You can see kind of.
I think it's kind of like a gazebo.
Yeah, it's not quite a gazebo. It keeps more of the wind out, but it's got lots of openings, and you can see through a lot of it, so that it's hard to sneak up on anybody. And so then the Northronders sit at the northern table. And you see in the middle of this, where there would be a fourth table, but there's no table, a whole slew of chairs sitting there. So there's two chairs at each, well, the tables that need chairs, obviously not for the centaurs, but so there's two chairs, no chairs, and a slew of tables here in the open part of the U on the eastern side as you approach.
Chairs or tables?
Just chairs, no table.
You switch from chairs to table.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Are there like 6 of them, or are there like 30 of them?
There's about 10 of them.
Okay.
What do you do?
So they're all seated currently?
They kind of gave each other looks, looked back at all of the rest of you, nodded to each other curtly, and then sat down warily, except for the centaur and Hibsol. You're going to walk up, and where do you go?
Between them.
Between where?
So in the U,
okay.
I'm coming up in the middle of the U, where there's no thing. So I'm in the middle of the torture.
Draw a version of this. Let's see. So we've got north table, west table, south table. You don't need to draw it, just point.
There.
Okay, you're just going to stand in front of the chairs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you?
What's Karn do?
Karn and Janera go and take up a chair.
Okay.
Each.
Then I also take a chair, dignified like.
Okay. Kloss approaches, looks at the Northronders. You see the aide look at him in surprise, and you see recognition between the aide and Kloss, and a smile between the two of them, a warm smile. And then Kloss goes and takes a chair.
What does his fist look like?
He's still approaching. Oh, no, sorry. As he's sitting down, they look deformed. And you can hear a grinding sound. A grinding, popping sound.
There was only a 103% chance it'd be the worst case scenario.
No foreshadowing
I
there
think
at
we've
all.
just found the only person that makes him grind his teeth more than Farhad.
River.
River will go up and sit down.
Okay. Talk.
I will go up and
And you see Karn's fists.
yes, and I will nod politely to the General Assembly.
Okay.
And take a fairly central seat in amongst the chairs.
Okay. All right. And Moisha?
I will stand as near Lindley as makes physical sense.
Okay. So Moisha comes up, stands next to you.
Okay.
And Farhad.
Where are these? Who's in the bottom of the U and who's on the right and left?
Bottom of the U is Wood Elves, top of the U is Northronders, and left of the U, the west side, is the Centaurs, which is roughly geographically representative.
Alright. I'm going to pick up a chair and take it over towards the end of the table where the Centaurs are. And pull out my vellum and my inkwell and be prepared to write.
Okay. All right. That's great. And like you're pulling up to the table so you can write on the table?
Yeah.
Okay, so you
But
pull.
I'm not sitting on their side, I'm sitting on the end of the table.
Right, yeah, but the very end of it where it juts out, you take a chair up to there,
Yeah.
lay out your stuff on the table so that you can write on there. Get it? Everybody kind of looks as you're doing this, and then they see you pull out what your writing instruments are, and they relax a little bit. Everybody, you all saw as Farhad did that, everybody tensed up for a brief minute. And then he took out writing materials, and they were puzzled, but you saw everybody relax a little. And the centaur gives a little and has a slight smile as everybody takes a breath and calms down. Were you aware of the tension you caused when you did that? Was your character aware of it? Or is he oblivious to what the brief moment he just caused there?
He was aware of it. He noticed it.
Okay.
But it was his choice was calculated. Yeah.
Okay. Understood. All right. Now you just kind of hear the wind flapping through the pavilion. Occasional cawing of the crows back that way. Wind through the distant trees. The buzzing of the many flies on the carcasses. The smell of the carnage. The burned smell. The charred smell. The mud smell. The blood smell. The wind is chilly from the north, but it's well into the 40s. So compared to what you guys have been through, it's quite warm. The sun's, you guys are just at the edge of the pavilion, so some of the sun is still on you guys at this point. As the sun progresses, that will change. Who would like to take the lead on this?
Because the plan was for me to introduce.
Okay, go ahead.
Hail, noble leaders of the Northrons, the Wood Elves, and the Centaurs. I,
Your character voice.
Lindale Stellifolium, lyrist of the Druids of the Druid Gate, acting as neutral, would like to present our people to you, and in return we would love to know the names that we are representing here. I have, and since you handed him all the things, I enter River of...
Well, so are you doing the introductions, or are you letting them introduce themselves?
I want to talk about him getting the instructions. I think that was his job.
Okay. Then you're going to have to still relay to him
Well, that's
how you should be introduced.
why I handed her a note.
Yeah, so go ahead and tell him what it is, and then he can do it. You might want to write these things down.
You got the note that I handed out to them.
Well, you've got talks. You don't have hers.
Yeah, hers is on there.
No.
No. Because it changed.
Okay.
It's on the bottom of that page. River.
So it's river.
Please tell me it's in hiragana.
I have it written in hiragana as well.
Something else you guys notice is outside of the 200-foot perimeter now, you see people from each of the camps starting to go through the bodies and like pick up some of them, drag some of them back to their, to start making piles of their own people towards their camps. So
And no crow attack?
Well, none of them are going near the crows at this moment. And they're not looting the corpses, they're taking the entire bodies. There are some birds here and there that shoot up, that fly up here and there.
Mistake.
They do see some birds, carrion eaters and such, vultures and such, flap away as they approach. But they're easily shooed away as the people start gathering up the bodies.
Farhad Guaranian.
Do you have a full introductory title you would like for him to use?
Where's his? Can you hand me his character sheet?
Yeah. Well, I don't have a title, but like Farhad Guaranian,
Negotiator of contracts.
What is that?
Officer of the court. Anyone who writes contracts is now to the court.
Iridian? Is that pronouncing that right? Iridian?
Yep.
He is Iridian, but he's from the lands of Iridia. However you want to say it. You could either just say he's Iridian, or you can say from the lands of Iridia, or the Arid lands. Right, in Regnum Sapientium, it's the Arid lands. But and it's a misunderstanding of the Regnum Sapientium folks that Iridia is based on arid as a root. It's just a coincidence. For your people, it means, the beautiful lands, not the dry lands. But they've conflated the two together between the arid lands and Iridia.
Yeah. It's what we in linguistics call a false friend.
Yeah. All right, and Moisha, do you get Moisha's title?
Moisha didn't have a formal piece in the conversation, and neither did Torin or Klaus or the other people.
Well, you have Karn.
Karn. Does he have
Sir Karn of the Golden Helm of the Court of Camelot? That's his short title.
Let me just point to the rest. Let me.
And Janera, you are only to introduce as the lady. You are not to use her name, remember?
Sir Karn of the Golden Helm of Camelot.
Of the Court of Camelot. And Riddy, you just introduced as the lady.
Karn a little bit. Just to try and give a little bit of benefit of the
So
doubt.
are you saying this right now? Then you had your chance while you were on the road.
I know.
All right.
It's just
all
a
right.
joke.
I know, but that still. All right.
I humbly present to the gathered Sir Karn of the Golden Helm and the Court of Camelot, and the lady, who are present if Camelot's interests are needed to be known.
Karn and Janera nod.
I have Farhad Guaranian, officer of the Court of Iridia, who shall write down the contract and treaty that we shall hopefully agree upon this day.
You see a lot of darting looks between the parties.
I bring forth to you Tok the Terrific of the caves of Davaru, elsewhere and beyond. He shall act as a neutral spokesperson as needed, and River from Amusa Hyasa, a faraway land who has no political ties.
You see River cringe as you
Mangle her
slaughter
language.
the name of her culture, of her lands.
Close enough for them.
Yeah, they don't know I screwed it up. She does. As a people with no political, economic, social, or religious affiliation with anyone here, will be the most neutral of arbitrators to keep us all honest and on track, if you may.
When you say honest, you see a lot of teeth clench, and one of the centaurs stomps a hoof.
Of course, we will all do our best to be above approach. Please, and in reverse order that I said earlier, which was I left the North Sergeants and Wooden Elves. Who here represents the mighty and wondrous ancient lands of the Wood Elves?
General Ironcrest stands. I am General Ironcrest. We had hoped to bring the prince to represent. Unfortunately, he was called away before I could summon him to this gathering. And we give these sincere, you see the other two parties glowering. We give the sincerest and humblest apologies for this unintentional slight. It was not our intention, and I wish there was something we could have done about it on such short notice. What are you doing?
I want to roll under my wisdom to basically the equivalent of an insight check.
Okay.
Do I believe him? And whether I believe him or not is not going to be presented.
Go ahead.
No, I have no clue.
Okay.
I'm assuming he's talking words, but I'm...
Yeah. All right. At this point, you're probably going with your earlier assumption that he's lying.
Yes.
So probably just go with that at this point.
So General Ironcrest, Prince, and
with me is my aide, the Count Deslock of the Greenwoods. Here's to you, Joe. It is Deslock. It is Deslock. With all of the cultural baggage that brings.
He hates everyone.
Exactly. Thus the glowering at everyone but the general. Yes.
This is meta knowledge. You can't know it.
Yes.
But he's a ranger, and his racial enemy is humans.
Yeah.
So we got the worst possible leaders of all groups.
Of the Greenwood?
Of the Greenwoods.
Aide de Camp Deslock of the
Neighborhood about 6 miles north of Seattle.
And he seems to be especially glaring at Torin with utter just malice in his eyes, like shooting daggers at you.
So, General Ironcrest, do I infer that you represent and have the full authority of the Woodland Elves?
I have, it pains me to say, been given complete authority by the council in absence of the prince. This is far above my station of comfort. I am but a humble soldier, but I will do my best to represent my people.
And the prince will honor any decision that you make at this time.
The council has so ruled in his absence, yes. The council will back my decisions.
Lady
It's
River.
received lots of tension in the North Fronders and Centaurs, and doubt.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I have it too. Lady River, is this acceptable?
Yes, it is acceptable.
Then we shall continue.
I'm writing all this down.
Yes. Okay.
And once Ironcrest says he has full authority, and River says it's okay, I just slide over and have him initial that I wrote that down on paper. Vellum, but yeah. Have an initial, yeah, you're taking responsibility.
So you're going to go over down to the Wood Elves table across the way and bring it over to him.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you get up, everybody now switches their attention to you, from Lindale to you, and watches you walk with the paper, the vellum, and come up to, and the Wood Elf is watching you, not afraid, but wondering now what you're up to. And you put it down in front. What am I initiating?
That you take full responsibility and you fully represent the group.
As you wish.
At this point, everybody here is agreeing that their roles and responsibilities are, in fact, theirs to be held and will be recorded as such.
And you notice, too, that Deathlock, as you approached, had put his hand to where his sword would have been and grabbed at air emptily, but had gone for what he thought would be a sword as you approached. So you can just feel the anger emanating off of him.
Yeah. As soon as I get the signature, I'm just going back to
where you were before. Okay, all right.
And who represents these noble and ancient tribes of the Centaurs?
So at this point, the Hibsel speaks up. I am Digital Limibali. Did you get that? Digital Limibali.
Can you spell that for...
to Horarian Switch for it.
Farad, did you get those?
And you see the Hibsel, part deer, right? Very jerky and twitchy, like his tail's twitching constantly. Ears flicking this way and that way.
I do apologize.
Yes.
It's called the sun.
I do apologize. Those of us of the slower race are not capable of keeping your pace. Can you say that again at a slower level?
No, I can't do that. And so the centaur puts his hand on the shoulder of the Hibsel and says, "It's all right, Didizel. I'll talk to them for you. You know how this usually goes. This is my aide, Didizel Limibali. He is part of the Hibsel people who are our close cousins and neighbors and share the lands with us, as well as the other species of our kind. I am General... Rorian Swiftfoot." What?
Ed.
Don't... Yes, but don't do that. Let it be unspoken, seriously.
Oh, no, it must be spoken.
No, you take us out of the moment.
Right.
I'm General Horarian Swiftfoot. I represent all of the diverse tribes of our people in the Centaur lands.
Horarian's General Swiftfoot.
Yes.
You speak for all of the Centaurs and Hibsels?
And all of the neighboring species within the same lands, yes.
With full authority?
Yes.
Thank you. And this is acceptable, Lady Riva?
Yes, it is acceptable.
Thank you.
At this point, the general of the Northrounders stands up. "You didn't ask me if it was acceptable! Either time!" And his face is already just red instantly. "This is a farce!
I am only asking if River's accepting of the names, not whether they have authority or whether or not
The prince was supposed to be here. He points his finger at the general. What else? This is a complete betrayal of the terms of our meeting.
This is the meeting we are having now.
So now the wood elf and the wood elf general stayed seated, but the aide Deslock immediately got to his feet as soon as he gestured that way, and is staring hostilely back. The Northronder aide is trying to gesture to the general to sit down, making placating sounds, and pulls his arm away, just kind of almost growls at him and kind of leans away.
I looked at Karn. What should I be doing?
Lord Deslock, please be seated.
Karn's teeth grinding. He is looking straight ahead into the pavilion, not looking at anyone. You can just see his jaw muscles just going.
Without looking up from the paper and writing, Farhan just starts speaking. Contracts, written promises, are a type of magic, and without them,
we're not supposed to do any magic here.
Have no expectations from another person. We write what we say here today, so that all can remember, so that all can read, and so that all can fulfill their obligations and promises, and be given that which they have earned through the giving. This meeting here, these words we write, this will be our law.
He glares around at everybody.
And you do have the full authority of your people, I assume?
I'm saying this to him.
Yes.
Yes, of course. I am the chieftain of all the chieftains.
Chieftain of all the chieftains. Is that your full name and title, or shall I put something else down for the records of the gods?
Bangs his fist on the table. The whole table cracks. It doesn't break, but cracks. I am General Vashtun of the Craig tribe, general and chieftain of all chieftains. Vashtun. And actually, I've been using the wrong accent. I gotta switch the accent on.
General Vashtun.
Yeah.
You have an aide-de-camp?
Yes, this is Johann Smithson. Smithson stands up, nods very quietly and reserved, sits back down, and keeps trying to get his general to sit back down.
And, of course, you have already declared you have the full authority of your people?
Must I repeat myself again?
No, I said you had already declared it. My next question is, are you prepared to go forth with
see his
these?
Neck just... Yes, fine, we'll go forth with this farce. We'll see what we can make of this.
And this is acceptable to you, Lady Riva? We have taken the names?
Yes, this is acceptable.
And Sir Farhad, you have recorded the names?
Vashtun slowly sits back down in the seat, and the seat just creaks under him. Sorry, what was that?
Well, Farhad he's written everything down. Just walks over to the Northlanders and have them initial himself.
Okay. You see Vashtun glaring at you, but he accepts the quill and signs it with a very poorly, clearly he's not used to writing, very weak signature.
Well, sure. And it could have been in Runic instead of common.
Yeah. But you can tell he's not used, the way he holds the quill and everything, he's clearly not used.
Does he do the fist?
Yes. Yes. He handles it like a kindergartner. Nearly ruining the quill in the process. So, but you get his signature.
Excuse me. My good people of all the gathered tribes and nations and people.
Yeah, I assume you went back to your end of the table, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I assume you got the centaurs as well. don't recall.
Yeah, you didn't actually say you did theirs. Do you go ahead and do that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Sorry.
All right. It's fine.
All of my gathered people, we are here for grave circumstances that affects us all beyond the measures of our local borders. I bring forth to you Talk the Terrific, who will explain to the dangers and the reasons why we should gather together as one strong people and not disparaging warring among ourselves. Sir Talk, please present your case.
Talk stands up and approaches to roughly where Linda was standing, and
You make me tick.
well, I'm Talk, so nods solemnly to each table. First to the Northrons, so that they would feel special that they were first. Then to the Wood Elves, so they feel special because I didn't just go along the line. And finally to the Centaurs, so they feel special because I saved them for last. Is what I'm hoping.
What's going inside his head?
Yeah.
What reality is, who knows? But
Yeah.
that's his reasoning for what he does.
Yeah.
Okay.
By doing it in not a clear order, he's hoping he's not.
Same reason I reversed the order of the
Yeah.
introductions
Okay.
and then the questions. Yeah.
Okay.
My friends and I have traveled all the way from Port Balkoff these past weeks. We fled there just before the city was overwhelmed by the forces of Mordred.
You want to do your character's voice?
Oh.
It's all right. Just reminding you.
He's also trying to sound more.
Understood. But
I lost myself in there.
Yeah.
And we were pursued by these forces northward. We saw the
Bashtun crashes his fist on the table. We don't care about what happens with the Southron lands. Why do we care? We're not here to debate that. We're here to the Northron lands.
Lord
You
Vastin.
Southroners can do what you want. We don't care. Just stay out of our land.
Lord Vastin.
Then the Deathlock gets up and says, "Stay out of their lands. You're the one invading our lands. You don't have a right to claim all of the woods to the south."
I just start
You
playing
just
the
start-
Balrog.
And they just both stop and look at you, completely puzzled.
Have I your attentions again? We are here to negotiate the peace. We are here to present the danger that will be presented to you. What they have gone through to get to you is only the beginning of the story. You need to hear the entire story.
Fine.
Respect the tale.
Plumps down in the chair, and you hear the chair. Like,
He's gonna break
not
the
a good
chair.
idea to keep plumping down in the chair with his height and weight.
Without looking up, Farhad says, Lindley, it may be too soon to start this story. We have written the names, but I would like to find one thing that everyone here can agree on before we begin.
I would say they would definitely agree on that their lives of their homes, the lives of their families, their children, and maybe even their own lives are more important than petty squabbles.
Petty! He stands up again, slamming the fist. These are not petty. This is the survival of our people. There's nothing petty about what we're doing. Who are you to call us petty? Spittle flying forth from his mouth, raging at you. Again, his aide trying to calm him down. Deathlock pops back up again defensively.
General Rashan is correct.
As the back and forth.
So how does everyone feel about the dead coming up to life?
Everybody shifts their attention to you. Vashtun looks completely puzzled. And then he stops for a second. Yes.
You've all noticed that the dead rising at night after your battles.
Yes.
Do not share any of your animosities towards each other. They seem to be united against all of you.
It's trickery of the Wood Elves. And the Wood Elves look utterly what? Completely flabbergasted.
Who here likes to see their dead brethren rising from the grave and attacking them?
It's a mockery of our dead. It's yet another way they try to lord their high and mighty elvenship over us, and he just roars with rage.
Is that why the Wood Elves come back to life as well?
He stops, silent. They have no respect for their own dead, either.
Which is why they were the first to clear their dead from the fields? That was a lack of respect? Are you making presumptions, or are you listening to understand? Do we listen to respond, or do we listen to understand?
He looks at you confused.
This is a threat that all of you share equally in. Can we agree upon that?
It's the Southlands. They have all their own problems. They never affect
The
us.
dead are not walking in the Southlands.
Oh.
The ice.
And you see the aide looking at him really confused. Like, just what? Like this look of what's going on here. Fine. Go on. He plops back down and another crack in the chair. What was that, Farhan?
The ice.
The ice is not natural. What comes from the south also comes from the north.
What do you mean?
Is this ice natural? Are the Jotunheim marching south in a natural and seasonal progression? Or is this some sinister working which cannot be uncovered?
The seasons change.
And
we've had stories before of the Jotun coming down from time to time. But
at the same time as the dead rising, and a invasion to the south, and an infection of the Fey realms.
What?
Exactly. We have many dangers coming from all directions.
What does any of this have to do with us here and now, other than the dead? But what are the Fey in the south? What does that have to do with any of us?
We are being attacked from all angles.
What?
The people of this continent are being attacked from all angles at the same time.
Directions.
Who would have that kind of power?
Have you heard of Mordred?
The bastard son of Arthur? Yeah, we've heard of him.
And his mother.
McKenna LaFay, yeah.
And the armies that he has
What was
amassed.
that, Farhan? What'd you say, Joe?
Nah, nothing. Never mind.
Okay, sorry.
And the armies and powers he's amassed from far, distant lands.
Haven't heard that.
Exactly. We bring news that all of you shall have. And we share this news freely with everyone here, as it affects us all.
You're trying to tell us that Arthur's bastard son is someone we have to worry about?
Yes.
Among other things. Have you ever seen this many threats converging on this continent at the same time?
I don't know. We don't care about the rest of the Southron lands.
Well, you're hearing about it now. And you never heard about it before, right?
We didn't follow it. It didn't matter to us.
This has never happened anywhere.
Says you.
Does
The
anyone
Says the representatives of the neutral druids. Says the representative from a neutral land who has no...
You mean the Druid Gate Druids?
Yes.
They say this hasn't happened before.
Correct.
They're usually, pretty fair-minded,
We are truly neutral in all of this. We only want to preserve.
Our friend Lindalay here also is maybe a high elf, but he is also of the druids.
Right, let's hear you out and see what you have to say.
Please do not interrupt him until he has finished the story. That way we don't have to begin again.
He just gives you a big-eyed, like, you just told me not to interrupt, like...
I asked
tell that.
politely.
Yes, you did, but you could tell...
Yeah, he doesn't like it.
Yeah, you're watching veins all over throbbing.
Mordred to the south. The ice and the Jotuns from the north. The Fey realm, infected with bizarre, monstrous forms. That the druids had to shut down their ceremony, their once-a-year ceremony. They had to exhaust themselves to near death to prevent these creatures from coming.
You were interrupted by a scream, a wail of just someone's just broken heart from somewhere to the southwest. Just a no! Hundreds of feet away, but carrying through the pavilion completely. You can keep talking if you want to, but it does come carrying through while you're speaking.
See, everyone's affected and in pain from this.
So the centaurs all look to the south west, if I misspoke any, sorry, but southwest, and you can see 300 or 400 feet away somebody on their knees with their hands up in the air, just screaming out in sadness or pain or something, some kind of pain, just yelling up at the sky, just, no, no, no!
As if all of these weren't bad enough, the boundary of the Infernium is weakening.
No! No!
Might we take a brief recess?
No! No!
Does everyone agree to perhaps 10 minutes?
Are you going to go take care of that troublemaker, or shall I?
Well, we'll just see what's going on and try and see if we can fix things.
Quickly.
As the neutral parties, we will handle this and get back to business.
Quickly.
Carl, like this is that.
Karn gets up quickly,
Get up.
gestures to you and Klaus.
Please enjoy the musical stylings of Lindalay.
So the three of them quickly run to the southwest. So you whip out the instruments and start trying to entertain. You see the wood elves and the centaur, the Northronders, looking at each other like, okay. But it's occupying their attention over the distant. No.
Sorry to volunteer you. Just
It works.
a way of getting them to
It does distract them from
and keeping them
ruminating.
from talking amongst themselves. Too
Yes.
much.
We don't need them arguing it while we're not negotiating.
So you, Karn, and Klaus go running to the southwest, and you see at first you think it's an old man, but as you get closer, you realize it's just a very burly old woman, and she's on her knees in front of someone's corpse, and again, burly woman, and so she's doing that, and when she sees you guys getting closer, She gets up achingly off her knees. It gets in a protective stance, like a fighter stance.
Yeah.
And you see she does have a sword at her side.
Uh-huh.
And you realize she's probably a Northron stock.
Yeah.
She's probably a little over 6 feet tall.
Okay.
So she sees you running. She hasn't pulled her sword. She's got her hands out like this, but she's watching you guys running up. You're the swiftest of the three.
Yeah. Oh.
So you get there first.
Whew.
What do you want?
Oh.
Stay away from my son!
Oh, you speak common. Oh, finally.
What do you want?
Oh, it's just that, you see, there's a meeting going on up there, and we heard you crying, and we
I
thought,
don't care what you High Lords do. My son's body's here, and someone stole our heirloom sword from his corpse.
Huh. Really? No, actually recall what any of his stuff looked like that he was
One
carrying.
of them was a sword.
Okay.
Well, there was a sword and a bow and
There's a sword,
lance.
a bow, and a lance.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, then. Could you tell me what it looks like? I can help you find it. I mean, there's stuff all over the place here, and we just got here.
Yes, it was ivory inlaid with black and had the family runes all along both the pommel and the sheath.
All right.
And it was a black leather with a white trim. And
it gives you a long,
Okay,
detailed description.
But
And
then-
it sounds really nice.
Okay, then. Right,
And
there.
it
was
sounds
built by
really
my great
familiar.
grandfather.
Okay.
You're not sure where, but as she describes it, you're like, I've seen that somewhere. Roll your intelligence.
See if you remember where the tripod is.
Oh, I remember. It's for the crows.
You do, but we'll see. What?
Roll under a 3.
18 of 12, so I don't quite recall.
So you know you've seen it
Yeah.
somewhere in this field, but you cannot for the life of you remember. Probably while you were picking around, looking around.
Yeah.
Maybe it was in the battle. You don't know.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, you have seen it somewhere. You don't remember where.
I didn't
Karn
see
and
it standing
Klaus
up
now
as we
come-
walked in.
It's not, brain fart.
Okay.
These things happen. We all do it. Some more than others.
And I'm up there playing my fiddle.
Klaus and Karn come jogging up now, and so Klaus and Karn is like, what's the problem?
Oh, she's saying that the family heirloom sword of her fallen son here has gone astray. So
Okay, we're going to go ahead and leave it at that. It is now 9 o'clock. So we've started negotiations. Oh, you want to say something? Go ahead,
No,
Joe.
I just want to say no.
Too soon. We're just
You'll
getting started.
have to tune back in. Yeah, it's already 9 o'clock.
Yes, it's 9 o'clock. Do you know where your centaurs are?
But what if we go into double daylight savings time?
Gain an extra hour. Well, if the Washington State Senate finishes that process.
That'd be awesome.
So we'll be back again next week, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. to see what happens with these negotiations between these parties that are off to a little rocky start, not surprisingly, but at least it hasn't come to blows yet. What happens with the old woman's son's sword? What happens with all the rest of you in this situation? Tune in next week, Sunday, 6 p.m. Pacific time, right here on twitch.tv/RPGresearch. You can learn more about the characters in this at mistheroes.com. You can see some of the artwork for each of the characters there in the banner. Much of it's still sketched out, but you can at least get a little rendering of that. You can check out past episodes on youtube.com/RPGresearch. We have a whole playlist of about 34 episodes are now available to the public. The rest are currently available to Patreon supporters. And so you can catch up. Keep in mind our early episodes, the audio and technical stuff was really rough. And it's been slowly getting better bit by bit. We have some good days and bad days, but it's been progressing. But listen to the story if you want to catch up. Also, the Missed Heroes site has a little bit of info about the characters. We've been slowly getting all their stats and stuff. Also, I need to get bios from each of you, if you didn't already send them to me, that you want to put on the Missed Heroes site about you as players, whatever you would like to be on there, in addition to your character description. And finally, if you want to learn more about the Worlds of Beirut multiverse setting, it's Beirut, BERU.world. And last but not least, so it wasn't finally, I'm kidding. If you're not yet a Patreon supporter, we are overhauling our Patreon after midnight tonight. We're changing the tiers and such around quite a bit. So check out after midnight tonight, so Sunday, April 7th, patreon.com/RPGresearch. One of the main things you can do is earn hero points. What's happening right now towards the end here is because of audience interaction, spending hero points. A number of things keep happening in each episode because the audience is able to cause them to happen.
We are making history right now, and you can be a part of history
That's
of
right.
this world.
Fantastical history. So check all of that out, and please do consider donating and supporting the nonprofit 501c3 RPG Research at rpgresearch.com/donate. Wherever you may be well, happy gaming, and namarie.
Dream well.
Let's just go picking through these dead bodies. What's worse that can happen?
Be nice to everybody.
Katie?
When spending your hero points, please spend them kindly.
And Joe?
I told her.
A contract is a kind of magic. So, remember that when it's time to pay your credit card bill.
Dad?
It's a kind of magic.
Had it been a centaur, everyone would have heard of nay.
Ooh, boy.
You're just trying to be the
everybody.
center of attention.
Good night. So, go ahead and switch to the music, but leave us streaming and stop the recording, but switch the music to leave the info about all the sites and stuff.
Heroes of the Mist is an audience interactive show. If you join our Twitch channel during live show times, you will automatically gain hero